Today, we explore how this date completely reshaped our world across five powerful dimensions: culture, education, finance, politics, and technology. This day proves that history never rests. Let's dive into the fascinating interconnected events of this date that continue to influence how we live, think, and innovate today. So, without much further ado, let's go.
So if you look back through the historical archives, most dates on the calendar are, relatively quiet.
Yeah, like maybe a treaty signed here or a minor invention patented there.
Exactly. But then you hit July 9th, and suddenly you're looking at this bizarrely dense focal point for monumental shifts in history, law, culture, and, well, technology.
It really is wild. So welcome to today's deep dive. We're unpacking this massive stack of legal rulings, historical texts, and news reports just to figure out why this single date carries so much gravity.
Right. And it really operates as a foundational cornerstone for nations and legal rights. Take July 9, 1790, for example.
Yes. Alexander Hamilton. He unveils his financial plan for the new United States. And I mean, the genius wasn't just paying off war debt, right?
It was the mechanism he used.
Exactly. By having the federal government assume the state's debts, Hamilton basically forced all the wealthy creditors to rely on the central government's survival. He used debt to, glue a fragile, decentralized nation together.
I mean, that's kind of like installing the national plumbing, right? Like using money to get the power flowing to the center.
That's a great way to put it.
But then you fast forward to July 9, 1868, and the 14th Amendment is ratified. We aren't just tweaking the plumbing anymore, This is fundamentally rebuilding the entire foundation of the house.
Oh, absolutely. It granted citizenship and equal protection under the law to formerly enslaved people. It permanently altered the DNA of American civil rights.
And we see that same kind of world-building energy on July 9, 1816, right? When Argentina officially birthed its own nation.
Right. They declared independence from Spain at the Congress of Tucumán. And if you walk down the massive Avenida 9 de Julio in Buenos Aires today, I mean, you'll still see huge parades celebrating that exact moment.
Wow, really?
Yeah, with people eating lacro, which is this traditional hearty corn and meat stew, and sweet pastelitos.
Okay, so July 9th establishes these massive societal pillars, like nations, constitutions, economies.
Yeah.
But what really strikes me is how this same date continually pops up to redefine who actually gets access to those pillars.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like what happened in New York.
Exactly. On July 9, 1969, the City University of New York, CUNY, announced its open admissions policy. It radically democratized who could get a higher education in the city.
And that evolution from establishing rights to enforcing access, it applies geographically too. Look at the Supreme Court's landmark McGirt v. Oklahoma ruling.
Oh, right. July 9, 2020.
Right. The court ruled that the Creek Nation Reservation in eastern Oklahoma, which, by the way, spans millions of acres and includes most of Tulsa, was never legally disestablished.
Wait, I always struggle with the logistics of this one.
Right.
Because Oklahoma had been operating that land, right? Like collecting taxes and enforcing state laws there for over a century.
Yeah, they had.
So how did the Supreme Court justify overturning 100 years of, established practical reality just for a 19th century treaty?
Well, the majority viewed it strictly through a rule of law mechanism. They reasoned that a treaty is a promise made by the U.S. government.
Okay.
And no matter how much the demographics changed or, how long the state of Oklahoma practically exercised jurisdiction out of sheer convenience, only a highly explicit act of Congress can break that original promise.
Wow.
Yeah, for the court, practical state convenience simply doesn't overrule written federal law.
Which is a heavy, deliberate institutional shift. But July 9th is also strangely magnetic for totally unpredictable, chaotic history, too.
Oh, definitely. Like in 1850.
Yes. President Zachary Taylor suddenly dies in office. And the historical record says he ate a bunch of cherries and iced milk on a hot day. But, I mean, that sounds bizarre. How does a snack topple a presidency?
It really comes down to a microscopic mechanism.
Yep.
Mid-19th century Washington, D.C. had terrible water sanitation.
Right.
So the iced milk was likely unpasteurized. And combined with raw fruit and contaminated water in the intense summer heat, it just created the perfect bleeding ground for deadly bacteria.
That is horrifying.
Yeah, he contracted a severe gastrointestinal illness, possibly cholera, which caused his body to shut down rapidly.
A microscopic bacteria pivots the executive branch. And while that's happening, on July 9, 1877, the very first Wimbledon championship kicks off, changing sports history.
And contrast that with modern day, and the technological leap is just staggering. I mean, on July 9, 2024, Turkey launched its first domestic communications satellite.
The Turksat 6A.
Exactly, right into orbit. And on that exact same day, global financial markets are holding their breath for the release of the Federal Reserve FOMC minutes.
The Federal Open Market Committee.
Yes. Looking for any subtle hints on how those officials might adjust interest rates and inflation policy?
Think about that leap, though. We go from a president dying because nobody understands orbit and tracking global monetary policy, all on the exact same calendar day.
It's wild. It really forces you to look at your own life today. I mean, the way you're taxed, the legal protections you rely on, even the data bouncing off a satellite to your phone. So much of that foundational DNA was coded on July 9th.
Certain days just carry an undeniable weight. But we want to leave you with one final historical nugget to ponder on your own.
We've spent this whole deep dive looking at July 9th as a day that builds nations and establishes rights.
Right, but it can also erase them. On July 9th, 1810, Napoleon Bonaparte annexed the Kingdom of Holland, completely wiping out the Dutch monarchy for 5 years.
A date that builds foundations and tears them down.
Hi viewers, family and friends. How did you like the content of this video? Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Please write in the comments your name and the place you are watching from. Since our viewing family is spread all over the world, it will be nice to know which city and the country you are watching from, so I can say hello to you. Science and technology. Reading and listening to the historical accomplishments on this date of those who have gone before us, I, as a professional engineer with interest in structural engineering, energy-efficient buildings, ICF construction, and as Google Docs expert with interest in spreadsheet-based solutions, draw inspiration to ask of myself the million-dollar question. What would I accomplish today? Think about the Japanese practice of Kaizen. Let me know in the comments, what would you accomplish today? Your subscribing to the channel inspires me to post more such videos. Thanks for your patronage. See you in the next video. Sincerely, Yogi Anand.